All right, so we're recording and everyone that was in there is now in the meeting, so.
Matt, can you please unmute the chairman, the JPN Nolan Esquire?
I think I'm here. Dan, are we ready?
Yeah, Matt, I'm trying to unmute our executive director and our board members. So James Nolan, Christine D'Agostino, Paul Abbey, they all need to be unmuted as well. I can't do it from my end.
Can you hear me?
They look all unmuted right now. They
No,
should
I'm
be able to
unmuted.
unmute
You just
themselves.
can't see me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. All right. Just making sure that you had a capability too.
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, we're good.
We're ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. Let's begin with a salute to the flag. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to
the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ann, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Chairman Nolan,
Here.
Commissioner Rosinski,
Here.
Commissioner Abbey,
Here.
Commissioner D'Agostino.
Here.
Okay, this meeting today conforms with the Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 called the Open Public Meetings Act. And as per the requirements of the statute, notification was published in the Middlesex County Improvement Authority's website, posted at headquarters at the Star Ledger and the Home News Tribune, and filed with the clerk of Middlesex County.
All right. I'd like to do the committee reports, but I'm going to take them a little bit out of order. So I'd like to skip the first one because I want to give that lots of time. Jim, is there a McFoods report? Or are we good with what's in here?
You're good with what you have, Chairman. I will
Okay.
just mention one thing to you, that we had a very successful food drive campaign held in Plainsboro last weekend to try to bolster up the amount of food that we have. It was a county-wide initiative, and the freeholders were involved to assist with it. Very successful event.
That's terrific. I think we should applaud them for their efforts in these times. Financial report, we're good with what's in there, or is there anything you want to add?
No, I think we're good with the financial report as well.
And recycling, how are we doing there?
I think we have Paul. Paul, are you on the line? Did you want to update on anything? If not, I will. We're operating smoothly. The vendor has been doing a great job, notwithstanding the COVID issues. We've been communicating well with our communities, and we have had really very good success, even with this very, very strong heat wave. We were concerned about what impact it would be on employees doing the pickup, but we've really had some great efforts on their part. So no major complaints, and I think we've been doing very well on the recycling side. We're actually ordering some additional barrels from 20-gallon to 32-gallon barrels now at the request of some of the communities. They're purchasing from us. We're buying them for them so they can save money. We're using the bulk purchasing mechanism, and we'll be coming forward probably for our next meeting to purchase some more of those.
Very good.
Also, one last item, if I can mention, which is significant. It's something I've been working on for some time. We've been able to actually implement it. We were able to implement a computer-based system now, iPad system, for all of our inspectors. We were doing for many, many years, as I'm sure Tony will know, manual reports of their counts and information that they were cultivating when they were out on the roads doing their inspections. We migrate over now to iPads, and the data will now go directly into the system. So it's a huge step forward in technology for the recycling department, much more efficient, much more cost effective, and much more accurate. So I want to thank the whole team for working on that, Paul Metasaro, all the inspectors, Kevin Figa. We just implemented it. We've been testing it. It's working extremely well.
Very good. All right, that brings us to A, which is the Economic Development Report. We have a presentation to be made by Christopher Palladino of the Devco Corporation. Chris, are you there and ready to roll?
I am, sir.
All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, Sarah, do you put up
Please.
our presentation?
Yeah.
So
Sarah?
Matt, this is when
Matt?
Sarah needs to share her screen and be able to use her microphone. Sarah Clark. There we go.
No?
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Director Polos, thank you for the opportunity to introduce the Rutgers Cancer Pavilion project to the board. It's the first step in what we hope will be the designation as the redeveloper of this project. It's been my experience that most impactful redevelopment projects address challenging public policy goals. This initiative hits all the high notes: research, access to healthcare, both construction and permanent job creation, job training, job readiness, and expanded educational opportunities for the youth of New Brunswick. This is without question the most impactful redevelopment project being launched in 2020 in the state of New Jersey. To quote Governor Phil Murphy just a couple of weeks ago, this project is a game changer for our state. There are 9 partners: the Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, RWJ Barnabas Health, the City of New Brunswick, Middlesex County and the Board of Chosen Freeholders, Middlesex County Improvement Authority, the New Brunswick Public Schools, the New Brunswick Parking Authority, and the New Brunswick Development Corporation. This project represents over $880 million of investment. We will put over 1,500 working men and women of the building trades to work on this project. Between 500 and 600 people will come to work in the Cancer Pavilion building alone, from world-class researchers to culinary staff to oncologists, nurses, material managers, housekeepers, administrative staff, and lab and radiology technicians. Many of these future RCINJ employees will be trained through a unique partnership with Middlesex County College and secondary programs throughout our county. The project will include a microgrid that will provide resilient and redundant power to the project. And as always, the project will address increasing parking demand with 960 new parking spaces. And the overall effort will provide the development of a state-of-the-art school in the neighborhood. We're fortunate that RCINJ is one of only 53 comprehensive care centers designated by the National Cancer Institute, which is a component of the National Institute of Health. This designation allows access to national clinical trial programs for New Jerseyans and a unique environment that allows for scientific discovery to translate from the laboratory bench to the bedside and back again to optimize the development of new therapies. And there is no time where expansion of services to patients and creating more resources for cancer research is more critical. New Jersey ranks 5th in the United States in the incidence of cancer and mortality. Each year, 50,000 cancer cases are diagnosed in our state. Each year, over 16,000 New Jerseyans die from cancer. That's 310 of our friends, family, neighbors, and fellow New Jerseys passing away weekly. The new Cancer Pavilion will consolidate key services into a single, convenient, dynamic location. Laboratory services, outpatient clinics including infusion chemotherapy, radiation oncology, imaging, and interventional radiation. The new Cancer Pavilion will be the only acute care oncology inpatient hospital in the state of New Jersey. What we are doing collectively is leveraging decades of work and investment by the Cancer Institute of New Jersey that received the NCI designation and giving them the facilities to be on par with Sloan Kettering, Fox Chase, Dana-Farber, MD Anderson, and other world-class cancer specialty hospitals and research facilities around the world. In addition to the 98 acute care beds and 11 operating rooms, the new facility will allow for 20,000 new patient visits a year. Cancer does not travel well. This will allow more New Jerseyans to be treated close to home without having to go to New York and Philadelphia. I said earlier, this initiative will address a number of public policy issues. The budget will fund a new neighborhood school, accommodating more students and providing modern facilities, an outdoor playground and on-site parking, a new parking garage for patients, visitors, and staff, and a utility plant that will provide resilient, redundant sources of electricity and thermal energy for the Pavilion and the North Tower of the hospital campus. The total budget for the Cancer Pavilion is $750 million, but that does not include, and that includes the $55 million for the new school. Middlesex County has made a $25 million contribution to the Cancer Pavilion, and Rutgers University will lease approximately 30,000 square feet of laboratory space. The vast majority of the capital will be provided by RWJ Barnabas Health. The building will be owned by RWJ Barnabas Health and will be an important part of the newly established partnership between RWJ Barnabas Health and Rutgers Health. We have, in partnership with Middlesex County, focused on our resources on a coordinated job readiness program. The program will target curriculum and offer internships and opportunities in research, management, culinary services, and patient care. The program will include students and staff from Middlesex County College, the Middlesex County Academy for Allied Health and Biomed Science, the county's vocational and technical schools, the New Brunswick P-Tech High School, and the New Brunswick Health and Science, as well as New Brunswick High School. Our mission is to have Middlesex County students ready to step into a variety of entry-level roles when we open the doors in 2024. As we have on other projects, we will deploy our Competitive Edge program as part of our construction partnership. This program provides training and outreach to local residents interested in securing work as a member of the building trades. We're putting particular emphasis with this project on returning citizens and the recovery court process. We're working with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, the Chief Judge of the Recovery Court, the Chief Justice of the New Jersey Supreme Court, the Attorney General, Reverend Soares. We've had a real success in placing individuals that come through the program into the trades and working on our projects. We will continue our subcontractor outreach program. What we do is work with smaller subcontractors throughout the general New Brunswick area, all of Middlesex County, to give them opportunities to participate and to bid on this project. Breaking off pieces of contracts such as a local concrete contractor may not be able to do the foundations for this large building, but may be able to do the sidewalks and the curbing. Our general contractor will bring local contractors on the umbrella of their insurance contract and their bond, and often pay them on a weekly basis so they can make payroll. We are sponsors of the P-Tech program in New Brunswick and are hopeful that a number of those students move on and work in our power plant as technicians or eventually engineers. And we will deploy our live classroom program geared to students, providing insight into high school students, providing insight into the building trades as a career and providing mentoring opportunities. The pavilion itself is an impressive piece of architecture rising 220 feet into the New Brunswick skyline, made of terracotta, glass, and steel. We talked earlier about increasing the capacity to manage an additional 20,000 patient visits. But Dr. Labudi is having amazing success recruiting world-class researchers that come to a program like this with NIH, NCI, FDA, private pharma, and biotech funding. In fact, a number of these teams have either landed or will land in New Brunswick shortly, and we will need to put them in temporary space until the new building is open. This plan shows the location of the project site in relationship to the Robert Wood Johnson University campus and the current Cancer Institute of New Brunswick, New Jersey. Proximity to these two buildings is essential to the successful operation of the new Cancer Pavilion. Easy access of patients and staff between the buildings. That's why there are sky bridges going in several directions, as you'll see on the drawing. This rendering emphasizes the relation of the pavilion to the campus. And this blocking diagram shows the locations of 74 exam rooms, 85 infusion stations. Because this site allows for a 75,000 square foot footprint and nearly 130,000 square foot underground footprint when we include the basement beneath the connector road and the garage, we were able to locate all the appropriate equipment and services underground to be efficient and to be economical. The linear accelerators, the CAT scans, the MRIs, the mammograms, the interventional radiology, ultrasound, all technology that needs shielding are placed underground, allowing for terra firma to provide protection and limiting heavy lead utilization in the building. The large basement also allows us to put all deliveries and material management below grade and all kitchen operations, saving critical floor space for patient care and research. This is the view from Somerset Street. This view shows, the next view shows a cross section, a few of the floors of the Cancer Institute. It illustrates how the building will connect to the existing hospital and the cancer center and the new garage. The next rendering is a ground floor of our Cancer Pavilion. The area is designed to be warm and comforting. I'm not sure if we've gotten to warm and comforting yet, but it's a work in progress. The building will have two main entrances, one that faces Somerset Street and the other on the parking, and a valet area between the garage and the building. As many of you know, at this moment in history, there are no new resources for construction of urban schools. The mandate of Abbott is still unmet, and with the lack of resources in the School Development Authority and no state solution even on the table, we have the extraordinary opportunity to replace the existing Lincoln Annex with a state-of-the-art elementary school. Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health is going to pay $55 million for us to build a new school. I'm going to pass the baton to Mr. Vaughn McCoy, who serves as counsel to the Board of Education and is with us this evening to discuss how the new site was selected. But from 50,000 feet, I just want to say that we're replacing a 98,000 square foot school, which I remember playing basketball in when I was a kid back in the 60s and 70s, with a 126,000 square foot school that will accommodate approximately 350 additional New Brunswick students. The new school will have 122 parking spaces, where the current school only has 40, and will include a large outdoor playground where the current school has no outside facilities. So I'd like to kind of, if with your permission, Mr. Chairman, for me to kind of cede some time to Mr. McCoy to bring us a perspective on the process by which this site was selected.
Yes, please. Welcome, Mr. McCoy, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? I unmuted myself.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me a few minutes to talk about how excited I think the board is for this exchange. And I will go through at a very high level kind of the selection process that the board chose in order to make this project happen and move forward. So what the board did was to put together a site selection committee that was made up of board members, staff members from the school district, members from the New Brunswick community, and some parents, about 9 parents of students at the Lincoln Annex, because I think they understood and realized that this needs to be a conversation where all stakeholders are involved in connection with making a decision on the site. The next part of that process was, for site identification, and there were some specific things that everybody was looking for in connection with the site. First, it had to be located within the district that the Lincoln Annex families live and serve. Second, the site should be of sufficient size to accommodate the requirements for a new school for the desired programming that Chris talked about in terms of a larger school, a cafeteria, an auditorium, a gym, parking, and other types of programming that would obviously be better for what they have right now. And I think the third criteria was that the cost of the acquisition and the construction of a new facility would not cost New Brunswick taxpayers or the school board any money. And so, in looking at that, there were basically two sites that were identified on the same road. 50 Jersey Avenue was one site, and 131 Jersey Avenue was the next site. And in connection with that, the Board of Education's architect, DMR, together with a civil engineer, Langen, prepared an evaluation back in April of both of those sites, doing a side-by-side comparison for the board and the site selection committee to review to make sure that the right site was chosen. That process, or that report, was prepared in April of 2010. It was shared with the site selection committee and the board's facility committee. They took a look at it and they made a decision that 50 Jersey Avenue was the better site to locate the new school. After that, a full recommendation was made to the board for the 50 Jersey Avenue site, and that's how we came up with the 50 Jersey Avenue site. Following the completion of that initial phase of the project, the development team will continue to work with the site selection committee on a regular basis, seeking input now for the design and the rollout of the school. A couple of other things to note: the new location of 50 Jersey Avenue is closer to where the families of the Lincoln Annex students live. And so we also believe that that's another great attribute of that particular site, because it's closer than the current site that the kids are on right now. Also, we got some support from the parent-teacher organization. They made a recommendation to the board at the April board meeting that they are in full support of the project. And I'd just like to read you a quote from Mr. Jimmy Stanton, who said, "We are overwhelmingly excited about the opportunity presented to build a brand new state-of-the-art school at 50 Jersey Avenue at no cost to the taxpayers." And then lastly,
Okay.
Sorry,
okay, hey, here we go. I'm back. Yeah. No, just that, know that the property does have some historic fill issues, and the remedial action plan and work plan will make sure that the facility is cleaned up to the fullest extent of the law to meet all DEP and state requirements regarding any cleanup that's required. So we are excited about this new location. And as Mr. Palladino said, the acreage is better. The building footprint is larger. The total square footage is larger. We have more parking spaces. The playground area is much larger because currently now the kids don't have any, and the student capacity is larger as well. So overall, the board came to the conclusion, and we believe rightfully so, that 50 Jersey Avenue is the right location, and we look forward to working with the developer and others on making this a reality.
Thank you very much. Chris, do you have anything else?
Yeah, sure. Just a couple of notes. When Vaughn had noted that this committee, which was the site selection committee, has now morphed into a design support committee. We have used this process with the Lord Sterling School and New Brunswick High School. We've actually expanded a little bit to add some students, kind of bringing them in to talk to them about different things in the school. But what we're going to do is to design a school with the help of the parents and some community members, so that this school reflects the things that the community is looking for. We're doing some important things in this building. We're putting all of the public spaces on the ground floor, so that the community can use the gymnasium, the cafeteria, the auditorium on weekends and the evenings, so that it becomes truly a community school. So we are very excited about this. I think this may be the first school in New Jersey that is being exclusively paid for with private dollars. And this is a historic win-win for the city, but more importantly, the children of the community. Just moving on quickly Sarah, the new parking facility is expected to hold 960 cars and represents an investment of $65 million by the New Brunswick Parking Authority. And it'll be completed approximately a year before the Cancer Pavilion is completed. That's a time when you have so many of the building trades in the building, the carpenters, the electricians, the IT people starting to come in to set up equipment. So we'll have a place for construction workers to park. The garage will be financed by the New Brunswick Parking Authority and will be backed by long-term leases from RWJ Barnabas and Rutgers. The new roadway between the Cancer Pavilion is an interesting design feature. It provides an entire length of the building of protection as patients are dropped off for their treatment or their visits to doctors. This is where you will valet park your car, leave your car for valet. It's also where you will kind of access the parking garage. As you can see, there's a sky bridge between the parking garage and the building. I think what happens quite often is that the first couple of visits you valet park your car, and then you start to be able to park in the garage because you know that there's a kind of an enclosed way to enter the building. The next two slides illustrates the entrance to the garage, the loading and utilities. What's really great here is that we were able to take off of the street all of the loading and unloading from everything from bringing in the laundry to bringing in food to making other types of deliveries or taking out the garbage. It's all being done underground, and it's not going to be disturbing the people who live on Division Street or live on Hardenberg Street. And then also in this next slide, again, now what you're looking at is the central utility plant and materials management. You're understanding how that is all reinforced underground. One of the most really exciting components of this project, and I know this will interest Director Polos, who, since he is a bit of an energy expert, is the development of a central utility plant with cogen capabilities. The plant will generate all of the electricity for the pavilion, the garage, and the north tower of the University Hospital. The plant will make chilled water for cooling and steam for hot water for heating. And we're looking into providing ways to also take that steam and to use it in the kitchen and in sterilization process. The system is an example of a microgrid, which means that it's a local energy grid with control capability. Essentially, it can be disconnected from the traditional electric grid and operate autonomously. A microgrid not only provides redundancy, but should cut costs to the users and allow energy independence and become environmentally friendly. The system is built for redundancy and resiliency. If you remember Sandy, the hospitals across the state were all put at risk because of lack of power. We have the ability to generate 4.5 megawatts of standard power with the jet turbines and up to 7.5 megawatts of emergency power. Ultimately, the system will allow for 3 redundant sources of electricity for the buildings: on-site generation through the jet turbines, direct purchase from PSC&G when necessary, and through emergency generation through both diesel and natural gas with enough capacity to operate the entire building for 8 days in an emergency. We anticipate that this project will be financed through conduit tax-exempt bonds to be issued through the MCIA. Securing the debt will be a power purchase agreement from RWJ Barnabas Health. So we think this is a very exciting project. We think it will have extraordinary impact. I do agree with Governor Murphy, who says this is a game changer for New Jersey. And I think I'm proud that we've been able to work with our partners, and we look forward to working with the MCIA, not only in the establishment of these redevelopment agreements, but kind of looking to your expertise as we move on and trying to make this a better project. So we welcome your participation, your help, and your guidance. So thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. That was very informative, very exciting project. All right, let's see, what do we have next? And correspondence. Do we have any correspondence, Jim? Did I lose anybody? Hello?
Executive Director Jim Polos, you're still muted. Hold on, you're still muted. Matt, can you unmute Jim Polos, please? There we go.
Nothing additional, Chairman.
All right, thank you. Do we have any old business? No old business. Do we have any new business? No new business. All right, how about approval of the minutes for the agenda section and regular meeting of June 10th, 2020? Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
And a second. All those in favor? Aye.
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 None opposed. That shall carry. Discussion of resolutions. Ann, you want to run with that?
Sure. Before the board today, we have 4 different resolutions. The first resolution, item 9A, is a resolution authorizing the negotiation of redevelopment agreements for the redevelopment plan described as the New Brunswick Robert Wood Johnson Cancer Pavilion. The second resolution that we have before the board today is item 9B, is a resolution authorizing application to be made to the local finance board pursuant to NJSA 40A:5A-6 for review of proposed resolutions of the MCIA authorizing the issuance of bonds. This is in connection to the 2020 Capital Equipment Improvement Financing Program. Item 9C is a resolution authorizing amendment to a certain vendor. One of our vendors is going through a legal entity name change. This is Lily Casper Golf, transferring their name to M Terrace Golf LLC. Item 9D is a resolution approving a proposal and awarding a contract for our annual cost report for the Medicare and Medicaid billing and counting services for the Roosevelt Care Centers.
Okay. Is that it for the discussion on resolutions, Ann?
Yeah, those are the discussions for the resolutions.
All right, are we prepared to go to the public comments?
Yes.
All right, so I guess we will open it up for public comments. You have the mission control there, so I guess you can see who raises their hand.
We're relying on our county liaison to go through those who have their hand raised.
So there's one person who now should be unmuted.
Yes, hello. You hear me?
Hi, please state your name and where you reside.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm Charlie Cradaville from the great city of New Brunswick. I think we spoke at the last meeting. I'm a little bit disappointed that I can't see you and you can't see me. Apparently,
you're not missing much,
well,
Charlie.
Apparently, well, I got dressed up for nothing, but
Oh, sorry.
it's okay. I just, you know, it feels like when you're having a person like Mr. Palladino come in and give a presentation, a presentation with slides, that it's disrespectful to the public to not have the public be able to see what's on the slides. Wouldn't you agree that that's, you know, that the public should have access to the presentation too?
I wasn't aware that you couldn't see the slides. I didn't know that, but maybe we can make it available through print somehow. But I apologize. I didn't realize that's how it was. But
That was
Yeah,
all right, Charlie.
and I've been emailing your counsel to try to get this, but it's just not good public practice to be having, you know, somebody give you a presentation that you can see but no one else can. It's really a bad look. So
let's get to your substantive comments, please.
Yes. Is there like a CFO for the organization?
For which organization? For the DevCo?
The MCIA.
Well, we have Jim Polos is the executive director.
Okay. Can he tell me if in the Improvement Authority's previous dealings with DevCo, they've ever defaulted on any of the loans?
I'm not aware of that. Jim, if you're aware of that, if not, you will have to we'll have to look into it.
I'm not aware of any default on any particular loan.
Okay.
Okay, not the Heldrick Hotel?
A default of a loan, Charlie? Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
That the Heldrich was done. The Heldrich project was done many, many years ago prior to my arrival to the IA. So I would have to research it further for you.
Okay, great. So I would urge you to research it and the board to please hold off on approving this until you can actually find out if you've been burned before by this same developer. I think that's the least that we could ask, is that we do a full look at all the business you've already done with this entity and see if there's any cause for concern, because I obviously have some concerns here. But before I go any further, is Mr. Delgado seated on the board yet? Is he been sworn in? I think you got a new member. The freeholders appointed someone to the board. Has he been sworn in?
I'm going to wait till the chairman returns.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Mr. Crowder will add a
Mr.
question.
Delgado, he's
I'm sorry.
appointed. Is he entitled to a vote on this? Is he here? Has he been sworn in? Was he invited tonight?
Who is that?
The freeholders appointed a new member to this board, I believe.
Yes, no, they're not voting members. It's not a voting member. They're just a liaison.
Just a liaison? No, I'm talking about a person they appointed by resolution at their most recent meeting to sit on this board. There's a vacancy, no?
Okay. Yes, we don't have, that person has not joined us yet.
Okay. So I'll move on to my concerns about the project. First and foremost, it stems from the displacement of the students at the school. I know Mr. McCoy made a lot of claims, but many of them are not accurate. I believe he stated there are about 9 parents that are involved in this secret committee. None of these people have been named, and it's our understanding there's far less than 9 parents on that committee. He also said the new school location would be closer for most of the students. That is not accurate. And also, he claims that the parent-teacher organization supports the sale and closure of the school, when in reality, one person who happens to be the leader of this PTO that came up out of nowhere right around the time the mayor announced these plans, he's the only one that's actually on the record as supportive. The only parent that is not an elected official that supports this is Mr. Jimmy Staten, and he is the president of a PTO that popped up out of nowhere. The parents of the community are up in arms, and as I pointed out, they've been marching in the streets, and I've been marching with them against this sour deal that would send their kids to a converted warehouse for an indeterminate amount of time. Could be 3 years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. And there are some concerns about the site of the new school that Mr. McCoy just kind of glossed over by saying it's historic fill and they're going to follow the law. But there are concerns about not just the contamination at the site, but the suitability of that replacement site for the school. Ultimately, the parents are very happy with the current school, which is conveniently located and one of the best performing schools in the city. It's only been open for 4 years. We spent millions of dollars to get it up online, and we are now in a position where, because DevCo wants to take it away, the political leaders are trying to find excuses to get rid of the school, give it to them, and do whatever DevCo wants. You're being asked to take a very bad, make a very bad move tonight, and I hope that you will table this, do your homework, find out about what happened with the Heldrick Hotel, look into the Fresh Grocer, the supermarket that DevCo said they were going to build here in New Brunswick that has been a miserable failure. And you may also want to look at the finances of the New Brunswick Performing Arts Center, which I believe the Improvement Authority was also involved in this same capacity. This is the first that the public is hearing tonight of Mr. Palladino's claim that there is going to be, I believe, a $65 million investment by the New Brunswick Parking Authority into this project. And that is just another, just another grab at our pockets here in New Brunswick. This was presented as something that was going to be tax-free, that Robert Wood was going to pay for everything. But of course, that wasn't true. They want us to give up the school, which is worth tens of millions of dollars. The freeholders have already signed off on giving away $25 million to support this project of county taxpayer money. And now we're learning tonight that the parking authority, which is already $300 million in debt, that they're going to be asked to take on another $65 million. Well, I go to all their meetings, and this hasn't been brought up there yet. And it's should not be done on the backs of taxpayers, should not be done on the backs of students. This is a sour deal, and you're being asked to approve something that's really, I think, history will not be kind to the people who rushed this thing through during the coronavirus pandemic. We need all the classroom space we can get right now. Now is the worst time to give up a school, because the governor has said we're going to reopen schools in September and that we need physical distancing between the students. So giving up a good school and cramming these low-income children in a warehouse that they have to be bused to is going to hurt the educational outcomes. and it's just a really poor plan. It was a bad idea before the pandemic. Now it's a atrocious, awful idea. And I ask you on behalf of the people of New Brunswick to vote this down or table this. Do not rush this through. You've got time to do some more research and to actually listen to the parents and talk to the parents here in New Brunswick. I know you're county officials. Well, we are the county seat, and we demand to be heard on this important issue. Do not take this school away. There's other sites that this Cancer Institute could be built. We would love to see this development happen, but not at the expense of one of our best community schools.
All right, thank you, Mr.
I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Thank you, Charlie. Next one.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Your name
Okay.
and where you live?
Crystal Edison, New Jersey. Am I recognized?
Yes.
Okay. This deal is not legal. By state law, a bid must take place. This was an illegal, corrupt, backroom deal. When the city bought St. Peter's School under contract, they promised it must stay a school for over 40 years. And now they're breaking this contractual agreement. Robert Wood Johnson has so much money. This city is selling this valuable land for peanuts, almost nothing. I'm not against the cancer building. I support it, but I also support Lincoln Annex School. Why can't Jack Morris just build his Cancer Institute on the Jersey Ave site location that he owns, that he's trying to sell off to the school that happens to be contaminated? They claim they are ready to spend $55 million, costing nothing, or what he said, New Brunswick taxpayers and New Brunswick Board of Education, yet it will cost county taxpayers $25 million. This has already been voted at the freeholders meeting. Oh, I forgot to say, press *9 if you want to speak, because I almost forgot that. They're at the Jersey Ave location that they want to build this new school on. There's a lot of drugs, sexual assaults, sexual harassment. The kids, they can get hit by a train. I mean, I don't understand why we're using 25 million tax dollars during a pandemic when people are starving, when the freeholders and elected officials, they promised no tax dollars would be spent. Is the person from DevCo still on the phone?
All right, if you have a question, you have to address it through the chair. So what is your question?
Okay, I don't have a question, I have a statement. DevCo is standing on the graves of cancer patients by pushing through this deal that will shove students into a warehouse on contaminated property that can cause cancer to the children. Okay, I believe that's hypocritical. Director Polos, are you the same guy that used to be freeholder and used to be mayor of Highland Park?
All right, again, you have to talk to me. So I'm the
chair,
chairman.
right?
Do you have a question? If you
Yeah, I have a question.
Address the question to the chair.
I'm asking the chair, is Director Polos the same guy that used to be freeholder and mayor of Highland Park?
Yes, he is.
Well, he also ran with, I believe, Polomina, that's the business administrator now at the freeholders, or the county administrator. Polomina's son or relative works for DevCo. This is a major conflict of interest. And Chairman, what's your name?
James Nolan.
James what?
Nolan, N-O-L-A-N.
Well, I believe that, you know, you guys should, exactly what Charlie said, you should table it, look through what's going on, because I think you guys are smart enough to know that this location, it's right across from Robert Wood Johnson. Jack Morris really wants this property, and to just give it away for absolutely nothing, which you guys are doing. They did promise Robert Wood Johnson.
Hey, we're not, sir, we're not giving away anything. You're saying we're doing it. We're not giving anything away. We don't own the property. We're not getting involved in the acquisition of the property.
But the New Brunswick Board of Education.
All right, that's an entity. That's an elected entity in New Brunswick. That's not us. We are not giving it away.
Okay, but there is a connection with you guys that are also have connections to the freeholders. the Middlesex County Democratic Organization.
At this point in time, your time has expired for your public comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on to the next person.
Hello, my name is Danielle Moore.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ms. Moore. Please,
Hello.
yes, can you hear?
Yes.
Okay, please begin your comments.
I'm sorry, Ms. Moore.
Oh, I am very upset with all of you for what you're doing. Saying 50 Jersey Avenue is a good site for a school. I'm pretty sure.
Ma'am, we're not saying anything. We haven't said that. The Board of Ed made their decision.
Please don't interrupt me while I'm talking. Use my time. Let me speak.
I am the chairman, and I'll decide that.
Don't use my time, sir.
Please mute her. Please mute her. Ma'am, I am the chairman. I run the meeting. So we will give you your time, but you're saying things that aren't true, and I'm just correcting that. We are not giving anything away. We do not own the property. It is not our property. What you're talking about is the Board of Ed. So anyway, so please unmute her and please continue your comments.
I know what the other gentleman just said about 50 Jersey Avenue, that everything will be cleaned up with the $55 million. Wow, is the $55 million going to build a wall to stop the noise and stop the children from crossing Amtrak trains? Wow, is the $55 million going to cost more crossing guards to cross Route 27 and French Street, where several accidents have been happening, several people have been hit? Are you going to pay for police officers with all the drugs over there? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. None of you do not live over here to see what goes on. But I'm glad the residents are seeing what you are doing, where I've been posting all these pictures where he just said, oh, 50 Jersey Avenue is a good site for a school? No way. Is this the city of New Brunswick or the city of damn Rutgers and Robert Wood Johnson with buying everything, taking the land away? Wow, with Plum Street now, you're going to build a 15-story building there. Like I said, what? You're taking everything. Does the city of New Brunswick belong to Rutgers, Robert Wood Johnson, or DEFCO? Be for real. And for you to say that's contaminated land and it would be good for kids to go, please go on Facebook or something. Let me show you these pictures where all you see is drug users over there. You wouldn't dare want your damn children to walk through there through that. And you're saying to save? Oh, I tell you, each one of you that were participating in this, it will bite you in your ass for even thinking. You got me in tears.
Okay, please mute her. Please mute her. We're not going to tolerate that kind of language. You're waiving the rest of your time. We're going to move on to the next person.
I mean, respectfully, I do need her her place of residency. So for 1 second, can she expose her place of residency?
Yes, ma'am. We're not going to tolerate that language. So you're going to lose the rest of your time.
I'm working on getting her back. 1 second. I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you, Chairman. Ms. Moore, can you please provide me with your address?
Go to hell.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you. Next.
Next person.
Which could never for done.
Hello, you're on. Your name and where you live? Hello, do we have somebody?
Hello?
Yes, you're on. What is your name and where do you live?
My name is Linda Stork. I live at 12 Park Boulevard in New Brunswick. And I think that this project is a very bad idea. Not so much the cancer center, but just the way that they've gone about it and not looked for alternate sites that would be less destructive to the kids or alternate sites for the schools even. That was a sham process. But Mr. Palladino did say one thing that was very true. He said it's a very impactful project. And that is true. The impact on this generation of students will be will be pretty drastic. We've already shown with the other groups that have transitioned into our converted warehouse out at 40 Van Dyke that their academic scores go down, and this is our high performing school. It's so the scores go down. The parents can't get there for the meetings and be in touch the way they can in the neighborhood. It's not true. I want to reiterate what Charlie said. The 50 Jersey isn't closer to most of the parents that are going there now. I don't know who else they plan to put there because they're increasing the size of the school now by hundreds of students, which, oh, by the way, is very against the current thinking on elementary schools. Should not be huge like that. And in the meantime, all these children from 4th grade, which is like 9 years old, up to 8th grade, will be out at a facility, which I said is impossible for a lot of people to get to. It is sharing a campus with students are high school and up above, all the way to 20 years old. But just speaking about the amount, the number of students planned here and the projected cost of the school, I highly doubt that they'll bring this in at $55 million. Also, the big question mark is the remediation. They're saying it can be done, but we haven't been able to get the up-to-date information like we did for the other site further down Jersey Avenue. And to pretend that this was a weighed choice between these two, no. The public outcry was so extreme for that site, and it was just so inappropriate. They tried to remediate that site for 10 years and couldn't even bring it up to industrial. So the point is cancer doesn't travel well, but neither do our students. To be shipped all the way out there and then to have to get over, because this is actually the neighborhood school I live over by St. Peter's Hospital. This is where my children would have gone after they finished 3rd grade in Lincoln School. And it is far. It is very far. And I think you should talk to the parents that were on this so-called committee. It's not like they said that I stood outside and a number of people did, talking to all the parents when the children came to get their things out of the school. None of them were in favor of it. None of them. A couple said they were on the committee, but they didn't really understand what was going on. No translation was provided. But most overwhelmingly, and one woman said she had been on she did think it was a good idea. One out of the hundreds of parents we talked to. The community is not in favor of this. And the other thing is we're saying that the taxpayers won't be on the hook. Well, we're county taxpayers too, and the county already went in for $25 million, and they cannot possibly do this for $55 million. So then what's the arrangement? I mean, Redshaw School with many less students cost $51 million, with hundreds less, a little more than half of the projected students for this school, and that was 5 years ago now. So we're talking by the time this school is completed, 8 years later, 10 years later, and a school that was on a pre-existing site that did not need to be remediated came in at $51 million, and now somehow magically $55 million is going to build a school on a contaminated site, which we do not even know the extent of the contamination of yet because of the delay with the Oprah Act because of the pandemic. To think that we're going to come in just a couple million more, that's impossible. Almost twice the number of students.
Exactly, Ms. Stewart.
I mean, common sense will kind of tell you that can't happen. So then what? Then we're...
Okay, I think your time's up. Ann, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so your time's up. Thank you very much. To the next person, please.
Under Lozman versus Riviera Beach and Albert.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sir, please begin with your name and where you're from.
Vladimir Highland Park. Under Lozman versus Riviera Beach Supreme Court ruling, you just violated Daniel Moore's First Amendment right to speak. Also, Robert's Rules of Order, when somebody has the floor, you can't interrupt them. Daniel Moore, she clearly had the floor.
Do you have any comments? Do you have any comments related to the project?
I'm telling you right now that you're breaking the
Okay.
open public.
Okay, thank you. You're go ahead. You can continue.
Can I continue?
Yes, continue, please.
Okay, because you just muted me, but can I talk about this deal now?
Please.
Okay. I just want to say you're a piece of shit. You're a
Okay,
fucking
cut
ass.
him off. He's done. End
You.
his Robert's rules. Get rid of him. Okay, do we have anybody else?
Hello?
Yes, can we, the next person?
Yes.
Okay, hi, I'm sorry. Your name and where are you from?
My name's Jennifer Garcia. I'm from New Brunswick, New Jersey.
All right, thank you. So your comments, please.
Yes, absolutely. So just to start off, I am a proud New Brunswick alumni, and I did graduate about 5 years ago. And today, just to let you know, I'm not sure if anyone here in this meeting knows that today was the graduation of the New Brunswick High School. I graduated in 2015, and I was the first class to be in the New Brunswick High School for all 4 years. I remember Kathy and Tony Smith, the principal, saying, "Congratulations." Our class was the biggest class, supposedly. About 300 students graduated. But because of everything that we went through, I went to the Reshaw School 4th grade and 5th grade when we were at 40 Van Dyke. And then right across from that little dirt playground, I did attend 6th grade and 7th grade at 30 Van Dyke. To be honest with you, and also hearing the briefing, the case with the judge yesterday, I did hear the Board of Ed's lawyer saying that grassy place is the size of a football field. If it is, then why doesn't New Brunswick Public Schools hold their football games there? That's my big question. Obviously, he has no knowledge about how that place is. He should go there and see. In that playground, there's not enough space for students to play. I remember I and other students got hit with the soccer ball because that little playground that doesn't have grass, it's just patches of grass, is not enough for a student to flourish and have fun during recess. What's the purpose of having recess if that playground is not well equipped? In addition, I do remember the representative, the lawyer for the Board of Ed, saying that classroom has windows. Only some of them, only the art classroom, only the gym, only the cafeteria. The classrooms themselves do not have anything. It's all white walls. It's depressing. The only way you remind yourself, a student, and also the young age of probably 13 or less, they're not going to like it. They're going to experience anxiety, such as I did. I'm recalling these memories because it will stick with me. I was one of those students that were there, that were going through that move. And now Redshaw School stands on Livingston Ave. That school is gorgeous, absolutely, but it couldn't be done sooner. And let me tell you, not all of the students that graduated in 2015 went to college. The reason being was, one, the teachers did not teach as much as they were supposed to teach. And two, the moving. We were taught in the middle of this movement, and I had gaps in my knowledge because I kept moving places to places, had different professors. I also have a teacher that did die of cancer in 8th grade when I was at the New Brunswick Middle School, which is on Livingston Ave. There, she died, and we never had a permanent teacher. So then when I went to community college, I filled in all my gaps. The Board of Ed and whoever's are making these decisions, they're not looking for the interests of the student. And yes, I'm Hispanic, proud alumni of Rutgers. I'm not going to say I did it myself. I did it with the support of my college professors and the support of my parents. But if you keep doing this, we're going to have the lowest graduation rate, and not many people are going to go to college. Moving the Lincoln Annex is not well. Basically, you're going to be messing up the future of New Brunswick. Think about that.
Your kids are not going to a warehouse because your interest of their education is first. Imagine if these were your kids. Will you send them there? Probably the Board of Ed president would, just to show us. But in reality, her daughter, whoever it is, they're also going to suffer in their education, just as the same way as I did. Think about that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The comments, and I appreciate the comments as they come in, but there seems to be some confusion about what the purpose or the plan or the role is of the Middlesex County Improvement Authority if we take this on. This is not, we make no decisions as related to the schools in any way, shape, or form. Those decisions have apparently already been made by the Board of Ed, which is an elected body, elected by the citizens of the town. Those decisions have been made. We are not making any such decisions. We have we're not getting involved in the location of schools or the buildings of schools or the relocating of schools. We have been asked to be the redevelopment agency for the construction. We have nothing to do with site selection or what happens with schools or kids or anything else. So for those of you whose comments have been that we're being asked to do something or we're going to do something or we're being asked don't relocate the kids or don't pick this site, we have nothing to do with that. That site's been chosen already. And those comments should have been directed to the Board of Ed. I think they already have been. But let's be clear on this. We have nothing to do with the schools and where the schools go, what schools built, and how much money is spent on any schools. So with that said, Ann, the next person, please.
Yes, I just want to say you are part of this problem because you're approving all of this and you're condoning it. That's it.
Okay, thank you. The next person.
Do we have anybody else, Matt?
Just was double checking, but I just had to lower one person's hand because that was the last person that spoke. But no, we do not have any more hands at this point.
All right. Thank you very much. Then that will conclude the public session. We move on
Just for clarification.
I'm sorry. Yes.
No, it's fine. It just happened right as you were about to speak. I apologize for interrupting. One person who already did speak is raising their hand. I just want to verify that person is not allowed to talk again.
That's correct.
Not during this part.
Sorry.
All right. So then we move to approval of resolutions, correct, Ann?
Correct.
All right. So which one, we're going in order? Ann?
So based upon the order, I believe that the board suggested that we vote on 9A separately, since that is the negotiation of the redevelopment agreements. And then
All right.
B are all operational business matters. So it is through you, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, so board members, excuse me, does anybody have any comments before we move on these resolutions?
Do you feel that maybe we should postpone for a month and just see how things are? Or
No, not at all. I don't believe we should do that. We've and you know, you have your own your vote, of course, but I don't believe that. We did that last time so we could have the presentation. We've had the presentation. We've heard from both sides, so I'm prepared to move forward. You certainly can. You can make a motion to table it. You can vote against it, or you can whatever you choose to, of course. But we put it off last time. Last time these people made comments, and then so we've had the presentation and we've had a representative of the Board of Ed. So we have heard, I think, thoroughly from both sides.
And respectfully, for clarity, this resolution is to authorize the negotiation of the redevelopment agreements, which will then be a separate situation that that will be presented to the board.
All right. So as I understand it, then Tony, this is just authorized negotiations, and when a final
Agreement or plan.
agreement is put together, that will be brought before us again.
Okay, fine.
All right. So then I would like a motion to approve 9A, Resolution 9A.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Christine.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Anybody against? All right, then that passes. So, Ann, we're going to do the rest by consent agenda?
That would be my recommendation, yes.
All right. So the rest of the resolutions by consent agenda. I need a motion, please.
I'll make
Motion, Christine.
Motion and a second. So Tony and Christine. And all those in favor? Aye.
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 None opposed? That will pass. So let's see. Solutions. So I guess we're going to go into public session again.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. On any matters.
Okay. So public session. Let's pick it up and go to whoever you have in the queue.
Yes, good evening once again. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I don't want to be, adversarial here, but I thought what you did to Ms. Moore was really wrong. She was the woman who came to your last meeting and was not able to speak, was disenfranchised of her right to speak despite taking time out of her day to attend. And then today, when you called on her, she spoke for maybe 15 seconds before you interrupted her. Tried to police her speech and tell her what topics she couldn't talk about, even though she is an advocate for the community here, who's been very involved in the fight to save this school. And I thought you treated her differently than you treated some of the other speakers, including myself, who you didn't really interrupt me or try to police my speech. And I thought that was really rude. And also, I do believe you crossed the line, and it was a violation of the Open Public Meetings Act when she said a three-letter word that you can hear on television that is not, worthy of ejection from a public meeting, and you use that as an excuse to silence her and take away the time that she had to speak. So if she's still on the call, I hope that she does speak in this period of time because I care about what she thinks, and you should too. But I will move on to point out that you guys may be a little mistaken about your role in this because there was an ordinance adopted by the city of New Brunswick, ordinance 06-2002, an ordinance to rescind the designation of redevelopment entity from the New Brunswick Housing Authority to the Middlesex County Improvement Authority for the Jersey Handy redevelopment area and the Healthcare and Research Pavilion redevelopment plan in the city of New Brunswick. So not sure if you're aware of it, but you guys are the ones that are on the hook for handling the redevelopment of this contaminated site where they have proposed to build the replacement school. So did you not know that, or is New Brunswick wrong? Was the city council incorrect when they designated you guys as the redevelopment entity for the Jersey Handy redevelopment area? Are you going to take on that responsibility or not?
We haven't taken on anything yet. We are going to go into negotiations. What the resolution that passed was this evening was to go into negotiations for what that agreement will contain and what our role will be completely, our complete role will be.
Okay, well, I would just submit that this whole scheme has been putting the cart before the horse. It's all about building what Robert Wood wants to and what Devco does, and the school is an afterthought, and this oversight proves it. We need to put the kids first and build a new school first, and then they could give up the current school. But it would be crazy to give up the school in exchange for a piece of flat land that has no school. And what we're going to see is exactly what happened with Redshaw, exactly what Jennifer spoke to, was that the kids will be warehoused. They'll be sent to the industrial part of town in a warehouse that's owned by the mayor's friend, and they will pack them in there and keep them there out of sight, out of mind, and their education will suffer, and that will go on for years and years and years until eventually enough pressure is built to force them to build a new school like they promised they would. If you remember, Redshaw was supposed to be just a couple of years. We'll send the kids to the warehouse for a couple of years. and then it'll be no big deal. It took 10 years. It took more than a decade to build the school, and those kids, you can't get those years of your life back. I'm sure you all have fond memories of going to a real school as a kid. Think about how your education would have been impacted if you were going to an industrial area across from a chemical factory and the unemployment office, and that's where your elementary school was. Incidentally, this is also in a building where there's high school kids who are actually going up to grades 14. So some of these kids are going to be pushing 20 years old, and they're going to put them in the same building as fourth graders during this interim period. This is a poorly thought out plan. The cart's being put before the horse. You've got to keep the children in mind. Please, I urge you to not move forward with this. Ask questions. Thank you to the gentleman who asked whether it was wise to postpone this. I think it was. I know you didn't, but I ask that you continue to ask questions. What you were asked to do tonight was really wrong, to get a presentation and then take the vote right away. You guys need time to be able to do your homework and look into the past track record of this developer and their dealings with your own entity. I know some of you are new and you might not know the history, but please look into the finances of these past developments, like the Heldrick Hotel, like the Fresh Grocer, and just come to our downtown and look at the giant hole in the ground we have when you come in off the train station. That is another project that DevCo has failed to deliver on, and they are essentially holding on to that land, hoarding that land with the parking authority and saying, we're going to develop it, don't worry, it's us. But they haven't, and they skipped right over it after they finished the Performing Arts Center. They said, our next project, instead of developing that ugly hole in the ground that everyone wants to see something go in there, we're coming for the school. They said, we want to take that school first and build on that instead of building on a giant vacant eyesore crater in the middle of our downtown. So I would ask that you use some better planning and don't just acquiesce to whatever the developers ask you. You guys are the government. You're supposed to fight for the people. And I have hope that some of you on this board will do that, especially after hearing from the affected communities. Please listen to the affected communities, not just the propaganda, not just the spiel. And I hope that, over time you will come to your senses and do the right thing for the children and families of New Brunswick. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Next person. Your name and where you're from, please.
My name is Danielle Moore, and I'm from New Brunswick, New Jersey. I've lived there for 43 years, all my life. May I have your name?
James Nolan, Nolan.
A-N. Okay, thank you. I would surely love to do a report on you. Rutgers, Robert Wood Johnson, DevCo, and Middlesex County freeholders. Once I put these sites up, the show, which I've been doing the past 2 weeks, the show, no way in the world would you want your children to go through this. With people smoking space all day, rolling around in the street. Oh, and I've been putting several pictures up, and like I said, maybe now you know my name. Go to Facebook and please do look at all these pictures. When I speak upon something, I prove what I speak. No way you will want your children around. Crossing a major highway, I can show you how many accidents, how many people have gotten hit. I'm the activist of New Brunswick today regards to safety. And you're not making a good decision. You're putting children in danger. Once someone gets injured or their life is taken or sickened by cancer from contaminated land, money cannot bring a person back. Money cannot reform someone's life again. Where you're putting kids in very danger, and I'm speaking from the bottom of my heart due to where I am a victim of New Brunswick, and I know money don't take away pain. And all you guys are doing, I'm wondering how many of you are getting paid to really do this for Robert Wood Johnson and Rutgers. No one's against cancer, but like I said, when you're putting these children, why? Because they're Latinos? Because, wow, you have no respect for them? Wow, because they're low income? And what? This is outrage. Come on, when St. Peter's High School was a white school, it was the smartest school in New Brunswick. Lincoln Annex, it's Latino. It's still one of the smartest schools in New Brunswick with highest test scores in New Jersey. How many awards they've been giving out. So please, I wish you guys would stop really. It's all about what you want. You don't live in New Brunswick. You don't see what goes on in New Brunswick. Please, if you have the time, take 3 hours to sit over to 50 Jersey Avenue and you will see what it's like. Or go to Facebook and you will see all of my pictures, what it's like. Right next to also Amtrak train station, fast trains, no gate, no wall. Are you going to pay for a wall in the $55 million to stop anyone from crossing the tracks to go over to Joyce Summer Park? Like I said, is this going to include plenty more walkways where French Street, Route 27 has signs, do not cross the street, do not cross, do not cross. You're putting children's lives in danger, and especially due to where if the Lincoln Annex School is gone, that's where the kids from the Lincoln School would go when they get older, and now they have to be transferred from all the way off of Eastern Avenue over to Jersey Avenue. Is that going to handle bus services? So it's a lie saying that $55 million will cover everything to make sure this school is built. That is a lie. That will come out of taxpayers' money. And like I said, what you're doing is so wrong. And like I said, you pastors, believe me, you will regret it for the rest of your life for putting children in danger. And like I said, I hope you take the time to really see who I am and look at my photos, because like I said, what I speak upon, I prove. To show people rolling in the ground. How many times do police have to pick someone up 3 to 6 times a day from using drugs off of French Jersey Avenue and all? The police cannot keep up with that. And you expect to put a school there? No way. And then far as what with 40 Van Dyke Avenue, you said that is not a school due to with COVID-19 going on, due to where that has carpet throughout the whole school, even in the gym. You can't even bounce a ball. Carpet holds more germs than hardwood and easier to clean as well. You're making a big mistake. And like I said, please, you will regret it. And like I tell the rest of them, it will come back and bite you in your ass. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, this is Linda Stork, New Brunswick.
Hello.
Yes, I believe I was already muted when I was saying that that this is the worst possible time to do something like this. I mean, they're really trying to push it through. They want to get that school raised, but this is not. I mean, it's hard to believe that the cancer center is the priority of the hospital right now. That's hard enough to believe because we're still in the middle of a pandemic, a global health emergency. We still haven't figured out, and so in as for the school aspect of it, we haven't figured out how we can do this, to have school open in the fall. Obviously, the more space we have to work with, the better. It would have been really, really nice for the kids to come back where they were and use the swing space for extra space, which undoubtedly the district is going to need to be able to do the social distancing and the different things. This is just makes it a worse plan than it already was. And it's frankly insulting to our intelligence, first of all, to think that it's really not going to cost anything, because as soon as it's been, they turned around and kicked in $25 million from the county, which we're also county taxpayers, so I don't know how that's not costing the taxpayers anything. No written agreement of what we would get for that. I hear the county high school student. Well, I'm waiting to see how this new cancer center is going to serve the vocational high school students across the river in Piscataway. I would love to see that in writing for the $25 million we forked over. what are we getting after it was supposed to be no taxpayer money? And now, clearly $55 million is not going to be adequate to build this school. And to think that, after, you know, with all the past experience that we have to go on, both with waiting for schools to be built and also with waiting for, you know, Robert Wood to come through on some other things. Danielle knows more about this than me, but they were supposed to put a traffic light on one of the intersections. That was part of the improvements they were doing, because they're all the way over to French Street now. And it was supposed to be down the street from where the school is going, as a matter of fact. And it never materialized. But that was their responsibility. They assured that they would take care of it. Well, so we're supposed to take their word on a whole school for our kids? That's just not a good idea. We should have some like guarantees in place. Build a school, because the idea that this would be what we would want and that we should be so happy. Well, we just spent $22 million on that one. One of the best we've got. It would not be anywhere near the top of our list to be, you know, schools to be replaced or renovated. Nowhere near. It was just done. We just spent $22 million. The Lincoln School that the Lincoln Annex is in the overflow school for is like 100 years old. It's so old it can't even be retrofitted adequately for the modern electronics and technology. You know, Redshaw School, oh my goodness. You know, these are schools that need to be replaced. But
Okay,
it's a nice
is the
school,
time
and
up?
the parents love it.
All right, ma'am, I believe your time is up. So let's move on to the next person, please. Do we have the next person?
Yes.
Okay, your name and where you're from, please.
Crystal Edison, New Jersey.
Is this the?
Can you hear me? Am I recognized?
Is this the guy that was cursing at me before?
Yeah.
No, that was another guy. That was a guy in Highland Park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Vladimir was.
Oh,
from
okay. Well, all right. I'm sorry. So, yes, sir. Please, your comments.
Okay. When I had got cut off, when I had spoke the last time, I was talking about how you guys are connected with the freeholders, the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. I believe I'm speaking with the Middlesex County Improvement Authority right now, and most of you guys have been, am I correct in saying that most of you are politically appointed on there and not elected officials?
You're correct. We are all appointed.
Okay. And who are you appointed by? Are you appointed by the freeholders of Middlesex County?
Correct.
And they're all endorsed by the Middlesex County Democratic Organization. I mean, every time they run down the county line. Am I correct?
I don't know about that.
Well, it's true. Polomina, Polos, the director Polos, Pulamina, Rios, all of them, they all run down the county line. Tamaro, they're all Democrat.
You mentioned a few people that aren't elected officials. Polos is not elected. Mr. Polos is not an elected official. Mr. Polomina is not an elected official.
But Polomino and Polos used to be freeholders, and they did run on the county line together, and they were elected freeholders at one point. Polos was the mayor of Highland Park. So now their roles may have changed now, but I mean they're all still connected to each other, and there's major conflicts of interest everywhere, including with the lawyer Kelso. There's heroin, cocaine, PCP, tons of heroin needles at the Jersey Avenue site. The sexual assaults, the sexual harassment, drugs, that I mentioned, I mean, the chairman to direct it, well, I don't have to because I'm making a statement. But Polos is from Highland Park. New Brunswick is our neighbors. You know, most of the people that live in Highland Park at some point, they were from New Brunswick. And for us to just turn our backs on anybody, I mean, these are low income, they're Hispanic, and right now the city has turned away from them. Their elected officials have turned away from them. Did you guys, because I went off the phone earlier, I had to go somewhere. Did you guys vote yes on everything?
We voted to enter negotiations with Devco and Robert Wood Johnson.
You did not table this.
We did not table it. We voted to begin negotiations for a redevelopment agreement.
You're making a big mistake. I mean, this land that's even at St. Peter's, even if the township, the Board of Education, whoever wanted to sell it, you can get 10 times more than what's being offered right now. They've already admitted that they're willing to spend $250 million once they have acquisition of that site, building their building. So let's not pretend like they're not going to spend any more. And you guys should have tabled this. You guys should have investigated this. I'm really taken back how all these elected officials, Democrats from the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, can just shove kids into a warehouse on contaminated property, knowing the high risk that it can cause cancer. Sure, you guys disguise, say, oh, we're cleaning it up, we're going to spend this much to clean it up, but that's a joke. Danielle Moore said the other day in another meeting that the water can't even, the water doesn't even pass through the ground, and everything, it's like a swamp out there. And I mean, there are better locations you guys could have found a school, and I'm going to yield my time. I'm against this. You guys are still going to do what you're going to do because you guys accept money from Jack Morris, the political fixer and political donor of the Middlesex County Democratic Organization, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. You all know this is corrupt, and you're going to continue on doing what you're doing anyways, even after what we all said. I mean, this is just the show. You guys had all probably already agreed on what you guys were going to do at your Masonic lodges anyways, long before the public ever heard about this, because that's the truth. The public meetings are just a show to make people think that you can actually change something. But no, these Democrats are just destroying everything. I yield my time.
That you're going to yield your time, but it's now expired. Thank you.
Okay. The next person, and again, your name and where you're from, please.
Hello.
Hi, your name and where you're from, please.
Hi, my name is Amanda Dominguez, and I've been a resident of New Brunswick for over 30 years.
Great. Your comments, please.
I am part of a community organization called New Labor, and I and other New Labor members have marched with the community and have heard their concerns about this shady deal, and they are not happy. You've heard from a number of people today. I can with confidence tell you that the real residents of New Brunswick do not want to put their children in a warehouse on Jersey Avenue. And I'm sure you've all seen the protests on social media and on News 12 New Jersey, as well as other outlets. And if you haven't, then you haven't done your due diligence on this matter. Also, I know everybody has been speaking about the crime in this area. So maybe for those on the call and in this meeting that don't know, if you go to neighborhoodscout.com, you can look at the most dangerous areas in New Brunswick. And the proposed area for this new school is in the most dangerous area, is one of the most dangerous areas in New Brunswick. So these claims about heroin needles and crime and assault, these are not fictitious claims. This is well documented here. I hate that the narrative about this has been warped in a way to make people choose, do you want to help cancer patients or do you want to help the children? And we know that narrative is fake and that we can do both and we can do better. And Robert Wood and Devco can look for other sites in New Brunswick. Like Charlie pointed out, there is a massive hole in the middle of our town where they could build this. I don't know why we have to kick the children out of a school. I mean, think about it. If you were going to sell your house, would you sell it without having somewhere else to live? Would you sell your house and live in a landfill until a new house is built? That's essentially what's happening here. No, you look for a new place to live and then you put your house up for sale, you know, and that's not what's happening for these kids. They're putting this contaminated area right next to a train station. For those of you who may not know what the site exactly looks like, I don't know how they're going to concentrate all day with a train passing through. I just don't understand it. I mean, it's distracting to me, and I'm an adult. I'm over 30 years old. I don't know how we expect teenagers and children to pay attention while there's trains going by. The children should not be subject to going through this high crime area to a contaminated school, you know, with the train. I think this is a horrible deal for our community, and I'm so tired of seeing our community being treated this way and being hurt in this way. These are low-income families. These are immigrant families, and I just feel like they're being treated as if they're disposable, and they're so important to our community. And it just hurts my heart to hear, you know, saying, you know, we're not going to think about this, we're not going to research this, we're just going to go on with this. And Devco gave a very fluffy presentation about what they think this is going to look like. But the real residents of New Brunswick know what this is going to look like. It's going to hurt our kids. That's what's going to happen. And I would never send my son there in a million years. I will work my ass off to send my kids to a private education. I apologize for cursing, but I will work very hard to send my kid to a school outside of New Brunswick before I ever send my child to that Jersey Avenue school. I will end this by saying that I think the project is very disrespectful to the community. And I hope you all do what is in your power that you can to stall or disconnect from this project or cancel this project, whatever you have available in your power. I hope you reconsider and do your best to stall this and cancel this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else?
Yes.
Yes, we have
Hello.
somebody else. Okay, your name
Hi, yeah.
and your name and where you're from, please.
My name is Andres Morera. I am a resident of Highland Park, just right outside of New Brunswick. And I just have a comment to add to echo what others have said before me. I implore you not to go forward with this, and don't go forward with the negotiations with Devco. I mean, in addition to what other people have been talking about the contamination of the site, the safety, etc., you know, and the health effects on the kids and all that. At the end of the day, this entire, all these shenanigans with regard to the school have come this far through anti-democratic means. And I mean, the people that this affects have not been part of the decision process in any meaningful way. I mean, they've been given, you know, a bone, allowed to talk on comments and all this stuff, and that's great. But at the end of the day, this hasn't been swaying anybody's opinion, or, you know, those with the levers of power, and that's terrible. And they've been giving excellent reasons for why they shouldn't go through with this. But they haven't been given a vote or anything. And Devco has been doing all of this in bad faith. They really have. So, I mean, and if you're not, well, please don't go forward with this. If not for the health of the children and the dignity of their community, at least for the fact that this erodes the foundation of our democracy. And just one last thing. I mean, when you were little and your parents told you to do the right thing, even if it's uncomfortable and unpopular or difficult or whatever, this is one of those times your parents were talking about. So do the right thing. Don't go forward with this. This is the same thing as in all those Disney movies you watch when you're a little kid or whatever. You know, the big evil bad corporation wants to, you know, close the ski lodge and all that stuff where all the kids get together. This is the same dang thing. I mean, this is pretty cut and dry. Just don't do this. This is just wrong. I mean, I know it's a bit childish for me to say, well, whatever. But this is just wrong. It's anti-democratic. It's wrong. It's not fair. And it's disgusting. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Matt, do we have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, do we have somebody else? Your name and where you're from,
Yes,
please?
hi. It's Clay Pipkin from Highland. I'm based out of Highland Park, New Jersey. Mr. Nolan, it seems pretty clear to me that you aren't really listening to anybody who's speaking today. And but what I do understand is
how
that
do you get that?
you're planning to move forward.
I'm listening to you.
Well,
I
okay,
don't know how you
let
say
me finish,
that.
please. So you plan to move forward with negotiations. So I'd like to know what you're going to negotiate for. What are you trying to win for this community?
I'm not trying to win anything. We're going to negotiate a redevelopment agreement to see if we can come to
What's
terms.
your plan? What kind of terms are you trying to come to?
That will be negotiated in the agreement. We don't.
But why don't you make this public information?
It will be when it's negotiated and it's put in on paper. It will.
You have no plans whatsoever. Are you just gonna? It sounds like you're not saying anything.
I'm saying that it doesn't exist yet, so it will be negotiated and then it will be presented. It'll be presented to this board.
And what will be negotiated?
The
All
terms of a
sorry,
redevelopment.
Chairman, through you, all terms and conditions are preliminary in nature, and therefore they won't be exposed as an open public record yet. And since it's an open public meeting, we can't expose any of the discussions that have happened right now because it's somewhat premature. Once all the agreements are settled, we'll present the terms and conditions to the board for approval. And once again, the public will be able to discuss these terms and conditions with the board during that time. So we hear your concern.
And then you'll go ahead and vote amongst yourselves. You'll exclude everybody's voices, and you'll make a decision just like you did tonight.
That's not what I said, but I thank you for your comment.
Yeah, well, I can't say thank you.
Okay. So are you done, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So let's see if anybody else left.
There's no one at this time.
Okay. That concludes the public session. Can I get a motion to pay vouchers?
Motion.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. So that will pass. So we need a motion to go into closed session, please.
I'll make a motion.
And a second, please. I'll second it. All those in favor, aye. None opposed. So we will go into closed session. And what do we have to do to go into closed session here?
I'm waiting for a cue from Matt because our public needs to be off.
Yep, I'm working on that and I'm stopping the recording. Is that correct as well?